Let the truth talk to 'em. Let the truth talk to 'em. Let the truth talk to 'em. Talk. Let the truth talk to 'em. Let the truth talk to 'em. Let the truth talk to 'em. Talk. Let the truth talk to 'em. Let the truth talk to 'em. Let the truth talk to 'em. Talk.
What's going on? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all my truth seekers out there. And welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, Truth Talks. I am your host, Krayzie Bone.
I'm the bum, Keef G.
And of course, if you're already a subscriber, we thank you. We appreciate you watching and listening to the show.
That's right.
And if you haven't already subscribed, you need to go to radio.com, and you can also go to crazybonemusic.com to subscribe right now.
Right, radio.com or either crazybonemusic.com.
Yes, indeed. So jumping right into this this topic today,
Let's get it.
we're going to do a continuation of the holiday celebrations and their origins. Remember, 2 shows back we went over and we examined the celebration of Halloween and explained where it came from and what it came from. So if you would like to hear that show, by the way, you can go on Google, Spotify, iTunes, and again, crazybonemusic.com and replay that episode.
Oh, yeah, anywhere you watch your podcast at, man, we available, G.
So on this episode, we're going to dive into the very next holiday that's slated. And everybody's talking about it. And it's we're going to talk about Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Now, in our day and time, you know, when we think of Thanksgiving, we think of family, friends, and feasting. Yeah. Feasting. You know what I'm saying? You got that big golden...
And football, and college football.
Yeah, y'all about to say you got that big golden brown turkey. Hope nobody died while it was being fried.
Roast.
You got... rump roast. you got the mac and cheese. Oh. You know what I'm saying? You got the candy yam.
What?
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, your friends and family come over, you know, to watch the football games, and of course you got to have the liquor.
Oh yeah.
Party ain't no party without the liquor.
Somebody
you know
gonna bring something through.
So basically, these are the things that we associate the celebration of Thanksgiving with. It sounds like a bunch of harmless, good family fun, correct?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, to us today, it's just, you know, it's just a time for people to get together with their family and have a good time with their family. However, this American holiday does not come without controversy.
Man, like all of them do.
I think everything in this world, everything that comes from this world comes with controversy. So
yeah.
Now, in school we was taught that Thanksgiving marked the day that the Pilgrims helped the Indians. You know, they gave them food, they gave them farming tips, and they helped them survive the winter, and blah, 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 and this and that, and there and then, and but the fact of the matter is, hold on. What we gonna do is I want to read what they and a lot of y'all probably already know this, because when I did this research, you know, the participants in this tradition is slowly dropping. Once people start to do their research and they look at, you know, what it came from and what it represents and all this stuff.
Yeah, the origins.
Because when you're looking it up, you can really get confused, because it's like several different things. They had several different Thanksgiving celebrations, and they were for different things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but what they done, they put them all together in one, and it's just one big holiday. But it says, the legend of the first Thanksgiving. In 1620, the legend goes, a boat filled with more than 100 people sailed across the Atlantic Ocean to settle in the New World. This religious group had begun to question the beliefs of the Church of England, and they wanted to separate from it. The Pilgrims settled in what is now the state of Massachusetts. Their first winter in the New World was difficult. They had arrived too late to grow many crops. But sound like what they told me, like this was in the textbooks.
Yeah.
And without fresh food, half the colony died from disease. The following spring, the Wampanoag Iroquois Indians taught them how to grow corn. You know what I'm saying? They showed them other crops to grow, because all this was unfamiliar to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't know how to hunt.
Fish, nothing.
Yeah, or fish and none of that. You know what I'm saying? So the Indians basically taught them that, and I thought they were supposed to be the civilized ones.
That's what, not even to even stop right there, but that's the part, you know what I'm saying, in every book from elementary to whatever it was, that's what I have been taught, you know. It was the total opposite. That throughout that holiday, it was like, you know, the pilgrims landed and showed somebody who was already dwelling that land how to, you know, survive for themselves or how to fend for themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got.
So, like I said, it starts to get a little sketchy because it's like certain accounts say certain things. So I just like basically like went back to the encyclopedia and like dug up stuff I said. But then it says a harsher reality. The harsher reality is, it says, however, in fact, the Pilgrims weren't the first immigrants to celebrate their Thanksgiving. They probably belonged to the Puffin colony of Maine, who celebrated the day of their arrival in 1607. And the Pilgrims didn't celebrate every year afterwards. They did celebrate the arrival of supplies and friends from Europe in 1630. And in 1637 and 1676, the Pilgrims celebrated the defeat of the Wampanoag, yeah.
There you go.
Wampanoag neighbors. They celebrated in 1676 it was memorable because at the end of the feast, the Rangers sent to defeat the Indians brought back the head of their leader, who was known by his adopted English name, King Philip, on a pike where they kept his head on display for 20 years or whatnot. So, you know, you have one story of, you know, they sat down together peacefully and everything was cool and they shared a meal together and this and that, and you know what I'm saying? That's how the day began. But it was, y'all could look that up. Look up the King Philip War. It talks about, you know, that war that went on and how, basically, this is my whole take from the thing. We know how America was built.
Oh, yeah, on the backs of slavery.
Oh, yeah. We know the dirt and the darkness in the history of America. So it's just, you know, I see it like, you know, they did it like they did everything else. They came in, they sat with these people, they sucked up the game of the land. I probably even doubt that they didn't know how to fish and hunt. Because, bro, like, I mean, come on.
It do sound like, you know.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, them certain kind of people, but if you're going on an expedition like that, ain't you going to take those people with you? If you're going somewhere to look to you know what I'm saying?
You know, in fact, that they did, it's good that you even brought that up, because in 1616 is where they first settled, like they were actually called the European settlers. You know, they came across different lands and stuff like that. And what they did was they came to some of the Native American Indian tribes. You know, they weren't called American at that time, but the native tribes. And what they did to them was they induced a disease on them, which wiped out 90% of their population. You know what I'm saying? Like in 3 years.
Yeah.
So in 3 years, they wiped out 90% of their population because when they looked at the land that was over there, they said, you know, it's cool and it's fertile, but it's too many people here. So they came with a plan, just like how we're going to be talking about soon in the depopulation, which is going to come up in a couple of weeks. You know, we're going to talk about on this show too, you know, continuing with Agenda 21. It's almost like the same recipe was induced to these people, you know, a long time ago. You know, because there was a lot of trading going on before, but what they did was they took some of the captive of the Native Americans back, and they took them to, you know, be slaves and stuff like that.
So here we have everybody indulging and celebrating in this holiday, having a good old time. But what a lot of people don't know and still don't know is that there's a group of people called the United American Indians of New England, and in 1970. They established Thanksgiving as a day of mourning.
Okay.
As we read earlier, we know why. And that day of mourning actually came about unintentionally. You know what I'm saying? I researched this as well. It says that year 1970, a banquet was held by the Commonwealth by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to celebrate the 350th anniversary of the Pilgrims' arrival. The organizer invited Frank James. He was part of the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And they invited him to speak at the banquet. But when they heard his speech, which mentioned European settlers looting the graves of their people, taking the wheat and the bean supplies and selling them as slaves, the organizers gave him a whole nother speech and tried to leave out the gritty details like they always do.
Always.
But rather than being sellouts and was like, okay, we're going to do that, you know what I'm saying? Dude and his supporters, they gathered at Plymouth where they observed this National Day of Mourning since then. So they've been doing this. So I'm just saying, these people chose this day for mourning the massacre of their people. And what Americans just see as a fun day, other people don't see it as such a happy day.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So now I did read some Indians actually said they celebrate Thanksgiving because they say the fact that natives managed to survive mass murder, forced relocation, theft of land, and all kind of other injustices we know about. You know what I'm saying? That gave them like to know that they could still be humble and love people after that. That gave them a sense of like, okay, this is healing us.
Yeah.
Knowing that we endured this much, but we can still be wanting to give to the same people that did this to us.
And still show love.
You know what I'm saying? So they use it as a way of healing. But no, go ahead.
No, it's a way to show love, just like what you're saying. Kind of like the African Americans' plight or whatever it is, because you would see so many years of over 400 years of oppression and slavery. You would think that the average African American or black man got the right to just punch a European in his nose, but throughout the times of that's not God-like. Different things transpire. And you have to have room to be able to forgive, and you would kind of think to be able to rebuild and understand that everything is just not going to go in an evil way for a long time. So,
Yeah.
I commend the Indians for even doing that kind of thing too, because, they have been, this land, no joke about it, this land was already theirs. It wasn't lost. It wasn't discovered. These people had been here already. The Native Americans had been here. They've been trading with people for hundreds of years. They've been civilized. In fact, they had a guy named Squanto who was an interpreter. He was captured actually in the early 1700s, and he was taken to America. But the whatever guy that he was sold into slavery to, he realized how smart he was, so he kind of educated him a little bit and brought him back. He wanted to bring him back to his land, but when he got back, he realized that 90% of his people was gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he stayed on as an interpreter and still had to have beef with some dude named Chief Maso or something like that. Forgive me a butchering the name too. You know what I'm saying? But Chief Masio or something like that.
I can understand. I can understand how certain Indians use it as they use it as a certain Native Americans use it as a healing process, the Thanksgiving holiday. But I also feel like even though you're trying to change the meaning of this day and use it as a healing process, which is cool, nothing against that. There's always there's still going to be that like some painful memories every time this day rolls around. It's just natural.
Gotta be.
And I really encourage everybody to do this research for yourself, because it's really different when you actually reading it and doing it yourself, because you get we're going over it real fast within this time we have, but you definitely want to go out. I tell you this with every show we do, go research what we're talking about. Just don't take our word for it, and that's what we're trying to get people to understand. Don't just stop taking people's word for just whatever. Do the research yourself, because just like I looked up that story earlier and I was like, this can't be real. People pass fake news around all day, so you really gotta do your own research, be your own person, think for yourself, think outside the box. You know what I'm saying? So after all that, after reading all this, we should really ask it, people that celebrate it, you know what I'm saying, should really be thinking, should I really be celebrating this day? Just knowing, again, where it came from, what it originated from. And then even though now it's a tradition, it's a national holiday now. So that national holiday means it's a pagan holiday.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what those are. You know what I'm saying? So
I could see Cray, like, if it was, if it was, but what they really can't present the truth, because the truth, if America tell you the straight up truth of how Thanksgiving came about, as far as the pilgrims or separatists, what they were called before they was called pilgrims.
Oh yeah,
in their eyes are going to make the story look good on themselves.
Always.
You're talking about some dudes that jumped on the Mayflower, and they've been selling for a long time, man. Them dudes was hungry. They was looking for a place to land or dock the boat. They didn't have a lot of stuff going on. They didn't just land with, looking real crispy and fresh like that. They were actually befriended by some people. But that's the part that's left out in the history books just to make themselves look good. I would have just been like, man, keep it 100. Hey, if I landed somewhere, came and I'm looking, these people took me in and fed me and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to leave the history book like that instead of make it look like, I came over and brought them some civilization. Those people are already civil. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of thing is just a disgrace, but it's kind of hard to go back and, uncover those old burial bones, that they had for people and stuff like that. Because when you're building on top of an old burial ground, these are the things that come up.
Yeah.
The truth comes up, and it comes up at a time that it's not good for you. So, I'm surprised still that they even call it Thanksgiving like that because of what they've done to people.
Yeah, it's like at least, if you're going to keep this tradition going, at least started from, okay, we're going to start from here.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff in the past, we just going to chop up. Just like, I feel the same way about the national anthem. But that's a whole different episode. We'll talk about that. But, man, time and time again, we've been misinformed, led astray, or just flat out lied to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By the powers that be. Whether it's the president, the Congress, and chief of police, and
the mayor,
the damn
governor,
insurance companies, damn it.
Yeah.
You name it. They all been caught in lies. You know what I'm saying? You can't believe everything they tell you. And these are the people that are supposed to be like protecting and taking care of the citizens, but you can't believe everything they tell you. You cannot rely on, I say this time and time again, you cannot rely on humans. Cannot rely on humans to solve your problems, to answer all your questions, or to get you to the real life, because that's not their intentions.
Nah.
That's not their intentions. Their intentions is to keep you, me, and everybody else in total darkness, misinformed.
Yes.
On the important, deep things in life. So they give us all this garbage entertainment and all this stuff that really means nothing. It means nothing, you know what I'm saying?
Pacified, yeah.
But what they're doing is very, very deep, dark, and devious.
It's not even to beat that kind of dead horse, though, but it's the same way when you not only do you take from a people, but you rewrite the history books. That's the part that I have a problem with the whole time, because that's what's been written about every race except for, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, WASPs. This country, once they came over here on different, made the 16 colonies or 13 colonies and all that kind of thing, this was intended for them. So everybody else was excluded, even the people that possessed the land. So, when you have that kind of evil like that, you're not going to tell the truth at all. Everything that this country, United States, has been built on has been a lie. Speaking
on that, the reason the majority of the population is being misinformed or misled right now, it's not an accident and it's not a coincidence. The powers that be cannot, just like we just said, they cannot tell you the truth and maintain their grip on society.
Right.
That's just the bottom line. So you can always expect them to lie to us right down to the very end. You have to stay poor in order for them to stay rich. That's how the system is set up. The system is not broken. It was made like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's fixed for them.
You have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to stay poor in order for them to stay rich. We were just speaking about Agenda 21 on the last podcast. They're lying to us about the earth being overpopulated. True fact though.
Yeah.
Do you know how big this planet is though? For them to be saying they really, really think we stupid. For them to be saying that this earth is overpopulated. It's known that the world's entire population would fit inside the city of Jacksonville or Los Angeles. That's right. If all 7 billion people on the earth stood shoulder to shoulder, they would all fit inside the city of Jacksonville or Los Angeles. This is just the city.
Right.
Then we got all the rest of the whole world to work with. So, what is y'all talking about?
That's just that. Yo, I'm glad you pointed that out right there, man.
So, bruh, the bottom line is every world power that has existed was built on lies, discrimination, greed, and bloodshed.
Yeah.
Every single one. Since man has been ruling themselves on this earth, there has not been one nation that has been great. You can't be great when it was built off blood, other people's blood and sacrifice. They have not been great.
That's real, Cray.
So I don't want to hear this shit about make this place great or this nation was great or we were great. Nigga, no you wasn't, nigga.
Yo, Cray, I can't come rob your house, you know, tie you up and tie your family up and then, you know, put y'all in the basement and then this is my house now. And I'm going outside getting the mail in my flip-flops and my house robe. You know what I'm saying? That's by blood you taking somebody's things. And that's not how you establish no country. That's not how you even establish the you know, you don't want the young people growing up like that and thinking that this is the way to become. You know, that dog-eat-dog world and all that thing. Everything we become to because of the people have decided to take by force things. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people say it was in God we trust that America was founded on. They don't mean our God. They don't mean nothing like that. Because when you got God's ways, you're not making, first of all, you're not enslaving nobody. That's what you're not trying to do at all. You're trying to do the work yourself, and you're trying to have a heart to lend to somebody and try to have a heart to give to somebody. You ain't trying to take over nobody's stuff when you get over there. That's like a house guest. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was saying before. A house guest just, you know, dog, you can't just, this ain't your house.
So something else I gathered from doing all the research on this Thanksgiving Day is that those European colonists, you know, the ones that were that supposedly discovered America and came over here and laid claim to something that had already been claimed. You know what I'm saying? It's clear to me what they did. Like I said earlier, you know, they came over, they learned the game. You know what I'm saying? You know, we know the history of this nation. We know, you know, what they did to Indians. We know what they did to black people, Mexicans. It don't stop. You know, they notorious.
Jewish people.
And everybody that's been affected
Armenians.
by these oppressors, you know what I'm saying? They basically came over here, they saw the land, they saw how the Indians was living good and prospering from it, and they figured it was good for the taking. And you know, and they took it, to make a long story short. So, in other words, that's saying they came, they saw, and they conquered. Really should say they came, they infiltrated, and they stole.
Yeah, because they did infiltrate. They made actually, even the Thanksgiving,
that's
go back
what
to
they
that,
did.
The Thanksgiving feast actually lasted for 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Between the Native Americans and the separatists, or what they call themselves, pilgrims and things like that. They traded in different things what they didn't have, but the Native Americans helped them. They got them, you know, they kind of cleaned them up and got them up on their feet. They was on a long boat ride, G. You know what I'm saying? So for them to paint the picture backwards, I just don't know how that happens like that, except for if you don't have, when you have evil inside yourself, that's when you go back and take the story wrong. You know, ain't nothing wrong with me saying, hey, man, I went over there and them people helped me out, man. They cleaned us up, man. We was on this long boat. Why couldn't they just say it like that? We on this long boat ride, man. We got over there, man. Hey, these folks was cooking something. They let us sit down with them and eat. Because what the Native Americans was doing, see, they had Thanksgiving before that anyway. What they were doing was thanking God. And they were having a fast and gonna have a feast afterwards.
No, what they did was they thanked God after they looted the graves of the dead Indians, and they took all their stuff out their graves, things that helped them get through those nights too. And they said prayers to God, thanking Him, saying that it was God.
Yeah, and that's two different things.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so many stories that goes this way and that way, bro. It's like they made sure the truth was buried, but you can always go up under there, and you know what I'm saying? Because the truth is gonna always be revealed. It's gonna always be revealed. And like I said, you know what I'm saying? Like, with all this being said, the main thing we want people to get out this podcast is basically we want every episode we do is to make sure y'all go check these things out for yourself. Make sure you do the research again. Make sure you do the research and know what's going on in your world, because keeping it 100, it's about to get very real out here, man. It's about to get very real in the near future. You need to search for the truth and nothing but the truth. See, the difference between the truth and the lie is that you can speak the truth with boldness and stand in front of it. You can stand in front of the truth proudly.
Yeah.
But you always have to hide behind a lie.
Gotta make another lie for a lie.
You always have to hide behind the lie. You know what I'm saying? We gonna see some things we ain't never seen.
Like Pac said, you gonna see some stuff
we coming up on a time that's gonna be very, very critical and very hard for people to cope, called the Great Tribulation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother conversation too. We'll get into that on another podcast. But you know.
Hey yo, and the only reason we informing y'all with this, we ain't trying to sound deep. We ain't trying to sound like we know like we know more than somebody or nothing like that.
We are trying to sound deep because it is deep.
We giving to you what the good Lord put on our hearts to say. You know, this information is being shared only because of that. That's the only reason, because we want folks to be able to, like my man said, go ahead and research it for yourself, study for yourself to make sure that what we talking about is 100%, you know what I'm saying, first off, before you go tell somebody else. And that's all we trying to do, is provide y'all with information.
And like I said, y'all make sure y'all go do this research, because, you know, I gather what I got from it, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's a lot of scattered information, but the truth is there. That's basically it in a nutshell. You know, they tried to clean it up, what it came from. They kept having these days, and, you know, eventually it became the Thanksgiving that Americans know today.
Yeah.
After it started from here and it snowballed all the way into this and turned in, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is. It's to each his own. It's up for you to make your own decision. We just giving you the information. Like I said, research it for yourself. And once again, thank you for listening to Truth Talks. And make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed. Radio.com, crazybonemusic.com. And remember, the truth is always talking.
You just gotta shut up and listen sometimes.
Shut up and listen. Yeah.
Let the truth talk to 'em, let the truth talk to 'em, let the truth talk to 'em, talk. Let the truth talk to 'em, let the truth talk to 'em, let the truth talk to 'em, talk. Let the truth talk to 'em, let the truth talk to 'em, let the truth talk.